Hey, here we go. Check this out.
This is Whole Nother Level with Dwayne Lindo.
You know, frankly, I feel that we shouldn't even be talking about this. Simple as that.
The great L. Bushman.
They'd have to make so many adjustments, but I don't know what they have to do. They need a miracle. They need a miracle.
Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Craig Cousin.
How can you not put Tom Brady number one on the Mount Rushmore of quarterbacks? Man, this guy's a legend. Rings speak.
And Derek Wilson.
I didn't know Eric was going to let you talk.
Don't hate the player, hate the game. I've seen enough Facebook posts to know that you're not a Giants fan. Let's go. And welcome, everyone, to A Whole Nother Level live at Old School Bar, 1991 Main Street, Sarasota. Big shout out to everybody coming out early and starting with us today. I am, of course, your man, E-Dubs, joined by the great L. Bushman over here to my right. How are you, sir?
I'm good. Happy Sunday, everybody. It's football.
And, of course, I have my brother from another mother, Frank Mazzei. Frank, how are you, my friend?
I'm good. Happy Sunday, everybody.
Yeah, this is going to be huge. We're going to be here every Sunday now for the rest of the NFL season here at Old School. So make sure y'all come down and check us out. We are on Facebook Live. But before we get started today, gentlemen, everybody here at Whole Nother Level, we want to give our thoughts and our prayers and our condolences to Jose Fernandez of the Miami Marlins, who passed away due to a boating accident. This guy was only 24 years old, man, and you want to talk about a guy who was on the up and coming, a young man who was predicted to possibly win the Cy Young Award. I mean, just to lose his life at such a very young age, it's a horrible thing. But we want to offer our thoughts, prayers, and condolences to his family because it's sad. It really is.
I agree, man, and he was a great guy that was in the community, too. This guy had defected tried 3 times to defect from Cuba, and then finally did, resided in Tampa for a while, then got drafted by the Marlins, and just as soon as he got in the league, just killed it. I mean, Rookie of the Year for the Marlins, and just kind of like, besides Giancarlo Stanton, the face of the franchise for the Marlins, one of those two guys. So a great loss to the Marlins and a great loss to Major League Baseball altogether.
Yeah, he was a guy who was definitely going to be on everybody's radar, but you know, it's sad, and you know, we just we remember. We mourn for a moment, but we remember for a lifetime. With that, it is Week 3 here in the NFL, and there is a lot going on already. I mean, we're only 3 weeks in, and it seems like it's been longer, but we are already set and ready to go. We are going to give you our rundown, our picks. I was on Facebook Live earlier talking to some Buffalo Bills fans, so I definitely want to start the conversation there. I am the only man up here amongst the 3 of us who says that Buffalo is going to win today. This is a must-win situation for the Buffalo Bills, and I say they get it done, even though they fired Greg Roman, their offensive coordinator, a guy who I thought should not be fired. But
can't fire your brother.
Yeah, I know.
That would make some weird Thanksgiving dinners if you did.
You know, then mom puts you in a timeout or whatever. But what I'm saying is, when your backs are against the wall and you're Rex Ryan, I think he's going to come out hard and fast. Even though Sammy Watkins is not playing today, I expect a big day from Tyrod Taylor. I expect to see Shady McCoy as opposed to LaShawn McCoy, who we've seen since he's gone over to the Buffalo Bills. But, gentlemen, I'll ask you. You both seem to think that Arizona is going to just make this a blowout game, so I'll defer to you on this one.
I mean, look, as far as with Sammy Watkins not playing, I mean, if I needed a track star for a relay race, Marquise Goodwin is my guy. I mean, I'm going to Buffalo. But for a football game today, I mean, my goodness. Look, Rex Ryan said that he sat in on the offensive meetings this week. For the first time ever, you're the head coach, and you've never sat in on an offensive meeting of your own team? I mean, at least to see, hey, what's going on? What do they talk about when I'm not in there?
I didn't even know Rex Ryan knew about offense.
I mean, that's part of the problem. I mean, you got to at least have a little bit of balance. I mean, look, I'm not saying that Greg Roman set the world on fire with that first game. I mean, 163 total yards. But game 2, they turned it around a little bit. They led the NFL in rushing last year, by the way. I mean, that's a pretty good thing to do. And by the way, Greg Roman was Jim Harbaugh's offensive coordinator. So, I mean, you kind of got to know a little about offense to be his coordinator.
I mean, you come with a wealth of knowledge. You're coming into a team that could be a viable playoff team. I mean, we've seen Rex Ryan do it. We've seen him do it back when he was with the Jets.
I mean, there's not a better fan base. I mean, look, they have the longest playoff drought. I mean, if anybody deserves a playoff berth, I mean, my goodness. I mean, give it to the Bills.
So now you're the Bills. You're 0-2. You're 0-1 in the division already. And so now you have to face the Arizona Cardinals, a team who was one game away from going to the Super Bowl last year, a team who everybody predicted is going to be heading back to at least the NFC Conference Championship game this year. Gotta love what Bruce Arians does, but El Bushman, I'll ask you, if you are Rex Ryan and Rob Ryan and Tyrod Taylor and that entire Buffalo Bills organization, what do you need to do today to stop the Arizona Cardinals?
I would hope that their bus or their plane got stopped at the airport. Honestly, do you really think that the Buffalo Bills are going to beat the Arizona Cardinals?
I do. I really feel
now,
like...
I understand that, the Cardinals got beat by a third-string New England Patriots team. They've had subs in. Second string by Jimmy Garoppolo. They had all their subs in there. But, to come out and to thrash my Buccaneers like the way they did at home, that's an Arizona Cardinals team I don't want to face. Coming off a huge win like that and then coming into your house, listen, the Bills are a mess right now. You fire the guy that's actually helping your team out, that seems weird to me. You don't fire somebody that's helping your team out. You fire the person that's not helping your team out.
So you're saying get rid of Rob Ryan?
I'm going to say if Rex and company don't go at least 8-8 by the end of the season, he's out.
Well, I think they're both gone. I mean, that's my opinion. I feel like no matter what, and I'm going more than that, I'm saying if Buffalo doesn't turn it around right now and the rest of this season get themselves at least to be a viable contender for a wild card spot, then they're both needing to be gone today.
I mean, okay.
After the season.
He won't make the season.
Right. I looked at the Bills as a viable threat. I mean, they've got the weapons there, but Sammy Watkins is hurt. He's playing hurt. He's not even going to be playing now. He's got screws in his foot.
But I said
that's your top weapon.
Okay, but I said that last week. I said, you know what? Sammy Watkins needs to sit out. He needs to heal. He needs to get himself back together so that he can be the viable threat that we know him to be. Playing injured is not helping your team. He's more hurting than helping. And I understand he wants to go out there and be there for his team and get his touches and get his numbers, and I understand all of that. But sometimes your body is your best resource. It will tell you, hey, I need to relax for a minute.
And I totally understand that. But with all the weapons that Carson Palmer has, David Johnson, Larry Fitzgerald, the Brown brothers, he's going to spread the ball around.
All right, let's talk about Larry Fitzgerald.
Let's talk about him.
Larry Fitzgerald didn't have one reception last week. First time ever, I think, in his entire NFL career that Larry Fitzgerald did not have at least one reception in a game.
How did that work out for Arizona?
Worked out pretty well, actually.
So what you're basically saying is if they're up 30 points, you're not still going to throw and spread the ball around?
It's all about winning. If you ask Larry what he feels about that one, not getting any receptions, he don't care. He won the game.
He wants that ring, baby.
He won the game.
Okay, I'm Larry Fitzgerald's biggest cheerleader when it comes to somebody who I feel deserves a ring in the NFL. But I'm looking at consistency. So you're saying to me just because the Arizona Cardinals trounced the Buccaneers, Larry Fitzgerald basically was non-existent. Can Larry Fitzgerald just come back this week and be a dominant threat? You basically had a week off with that win. You basically took a week off. If you were not being thrown the ball, if you were not involved in practice, if you were not involved in the game.
He's involved in the game even when he's not getting the ball. Just the fact that he's out there on the field, he's Larry Fitzgerald. You have to respect that, and you have to put somebody on him. Whether you throw him the ball or not, you got to account for him.
Okay. All right. I look at it as you have to keep it consistent. And for me right now, I'm saying to you, we're still early into the season. If Larry Fitzgerald doesn't get his touches, or shall we say, yes, you have to respect the man when he's on the field, Frank, and I completely agree with you. But let's see how he plays today.
If he
is Carson Palmer going to make Larry Fitzgerald his number one target today and maybe overshoot the ball? This is what I'm saying to you. I'm looking at the entire spectrum of what happened last week between these two teams, and I'm saying to you, Buffalo right now has a legitimate shot at home, backs against the wall. You're 0-2 to come out, play with the House of Fire, and potentially keep it close, but beat Arizona. If it was in Arizona, wouldn't even be a question. But it's in Buffalo. The crowd's going to be hype, and I know sometimes home field does or doesn't make a difference. But in this game and for this purpose, I'm saying Buffalo will be successful today.
Well, it ain't cold yet. So maybe it was later in the year and Buffalo was maybe coming down with snow. Maybe they would have a chance, but it's still kind of hot outside. You know how Arizona is.
Marcel Darius comes back next game, so after his 4-game suspension. I'd feel a little better about the Bills' defense if he was there on that defensive line, but
we shall see. But, all right, let's keep the show going here at Old School. I saw a Pittsburgh Steelers fan walk in here. We will get to that game. I see a Giants fan hanging around outside. We'll definitely talk about his New York Football Giants, but let's talk about the Oakland Raiders and the Tennessee Titans. Two teams right now who are 1-1. And, Frank, let me ask you a question.
Yep.
Preseason, we were talking about Jacksonville and how we said they were going to be the proverbial threat in the AFC South.
No,
Okay.
not me. No, don't say Frank thought Jacksonville was going to do anything this year.
Let me be more specific.
Okay. Craig
Cousin and myself thought that Jacksonville would be the proverbial threat in the AFC South this year.
Okay, yes, sir.
El Bushman has the Houston Texans, his preseason pick, to win the AFC South at 12-4.
As do I at 11-5.
Okay. Did we sleep on the Tennessee Titans? Let me ask you that question.
Actually, yeah. I mean, look, it's hard to say that you slept on them. I mean, they've been god-awful the last few years. I mean, 2 wins. I mean, and then you hire Mike Mularkey, who basically is an 18-39 record as a coach. I mean, that's, so I didn't have any expectations for them, really. But the rookie they drafted, Sharp, is a speedy wide receiver. Delaney Walker is a really good tight end. They've invested in the offensive line. I mean, even when Mike Munchak was there a few years ago, they got about 3 first-round draft picks on that offensive line. I mean, they need defensively, they have some holes, and they've given up, but they played the Vikings tough. They went on the road and beat the Lions. Yeah, I know it's the Lions, but still, it's a road win, and Mariota led a drive at the end to help them win that game. So I think, look, T.J. Yeldon, I mean, DeMarco Murray, the future is bright. Derrick Henry, I'm sorry. They've drafted well. So, yeah, I think that they are the team that maybe is more on the upswing.
And, and I totally agree with you, Frank. This is a team that's maybe still in rebuilding mode, but is slowly getting to the point where they might just be sneaky and come out of nowhere.
You can see the light at the end of the tunnel with them.
You can see a lot of good things that have been happening with this team, especially with all the draft picks they've gotten. And that 1-2 punch of DeMarco and Derrick Henry, I love because Henry's that big back you want at a 3rd and goal, even though, I mean, they've been using DeMarco Murray a lot, but they've been slowly putting in Derrick Henry with more touches every single week, which is I love that so much. And with Mularkey as the coach, you can't go wrong with him because he's had a lot of success. So I think they're slowly getting going. And going on the flip side with I know what you and Craig thought with Jacksonville, I think we're going to get into that later, but a regression with that team. So the Titans might be over Jacksonville this season in this division.
And that's the question that I had to ask, because looking at everything from last year to this year, I just expected the Jacksonville Jaguars to turn the page and continually move forward. Frank, you've hit the nail on the head several times when you said Gus Bradley's seat this week, this entire year, is not even hot. It's almost blazing inferno. If they don't pull it around and at the very least get a wild card spot, Gus Bradley is gone. But to his credit, whoever comes in and takes over, man, you've got
into a good situation.
Yeah, you're walking into a great situation as the new head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
You already got a quarterback. I mean,
so speaking of the Titans, a little injury update for fantasy guys. Delaney Walker is now inactive. He will be out of the game today. So if you got Delaney Walker, he is out today. So.
All right, I got to change my fantasy. You know what? And I picked him to go today because I expected him to have a good day against Oakland. Because Oakland's defense, even though, Frank, you got your West Virginia boys on there, I expected Oakland to rebound after that loss they suffered last week to Atlanta. And granted, even still, that was a close game.
They let Matt Ryan throw for 528 yards. Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan hasn't been Matty Ice since, like, maybe his rookie year. I mean, he just regresses every year. You let him throw for 528 yards. You let Drew Brees. Now, Drew Brees, I'll give you 500-plus yards for Drew Brees in New Orleans. I mean, okay, that's forgivable. Matt Ryan, and you're at home?
That's terrible, man. That's terrible.
Their defense, I mean, come on. Jack Del Rio, he took over the play-calling duties in that last game from his defensive coordinator in that last quarter. Granted, it didn't really help them very much, but they're not playing collectively. I mean, look, you give Sean Smith that money from Kansas City. Sean Smith is like a 6'3", 215-pound corner. You're matching him up on guys that are like 5'9", 175 that are just torching him. And that's what Sharp is going to do today for the Titans. I mean, look, if you got Sharp on your fantasy team, get him off the bench.
Okay, well, I need a tight end because if Delaney Walker's out, let's. I hate to talk about fantasy right now.
There's a couple options out there. Dennis Pitta is one you might want to look at, and Jacob Tamme from the Atlanta Falcons.
Jacob who?
Jacob Tamme.
Okay.
Jesse James.
Listen, if I can get Jesse James, I'm definitely going to put him in today. But
listen, I think the Raiders are going to bounce back from that loss against Atlanta. Derek Carr he's becoming that. Instead of a Tier 2 quarterback, which he is kind of right now, I think he's starting to maybe get up in that Tier 1 because with that combination of Crabtree and Cooper on both of your sides,
right.
You have Latavius Murray, who is now looking to be what Todd Gurley was last year.
Exactly.
So and their tight end Walford, I like him a lot. He's a good pass blocker. I think they're going to bounce back against the Titans. I believe this might be a high-scoring game because both of the defenses are not that great. But I've got the Raiders squeaking out in this one.
I got the Raiders winning this one, too. Frank, you actually have Tennessee.
I do have the Titans at home winning the game. And Oakland has a nasty offensive line, too, which doesn't get a lot of credit. So they just need to fix that defensive side of the ball.
Well, maybe you should go out there and motivate your West Virginia boys and let them know what time it is. Remind them that they're Mountaineers and they need to handle their business.
Teach Khalil Mack another pass rush move.
Yeah, exactly. All right, I see we got a Giants fan in the house. Let's talk about his game. So you've got, finally, Josh Norman versus Odell Beckham, the sequel. This is round 2 for these two guys. But now there's been new rules in place. All that head hunting and fighting and jabberjawing and talking is pretty much done because if you get 2 penalties, you're gone within the new rules of the NFL. So let me ask you guys. Eli Manning, looking as good as he's looked the first 2 weeks, versus a man who bet on himself, got the franchise tag in Kirk Cousins, and there's already intermingling of disgruntledness within the Redskins organization. How do we see the Redskins at the Meadowlands playing out today?
I see them losing.
Really?
I see them losing. And we talked about this yesterday on the Saturday show where I have seen a lot of progression from that New York Giants defense. From what it was last year to this year, each game they've gotten better and better. And with that whole Josh Norman, Odell Beckham Jr. versus grudge match, I don't think we're going to see the grudge match we saw last year. Okay, it might be a little bit of head games here and there. I don't think we're going to see a lot of explosive fighting in what we saw last year, but this is going to be a good matchup anyways. But the Giants have improved so much. It's blown my mind because I really thought they were going to be a bad team. No offense out there. No offense. But, with the addition of Sterling Sharp, who has been straight money in that slot.
I'm telling you.
I mean, if you're not covering him, you're going to lose. You're going to be torched every single day. So the one issue I have with the Giants is their run game with Rashad Jennings and Shane Vereen. That's one thing they need to keep working on. But the Giants D, I think, is going to be all over the Redskins today because they just keep getting better and better. I've got Giants on this one.
Listen, if you've got Victor Cruz healthy, Odell Beckham Jr. healthy, and you've got Sterling Shepard in the slot, all Eli has to do is just read his options. That's it.
I see salsa dancing all day.
Really?
Salsa
you think Victor Cruz is going to have a big game today?
No, salsa dancing for everybody.
Oh, for everybody.
For everybody's
okay.
going to be salsa dancing.
Just get some nachos.
Put on your sombreros. We're going to be salsa dancing all day with the maracas and everything.
Salsas and margaritas. All right.
As long as Jordan Reed gives me some fantasy points. But
You're okay with this?
Well, Look, I don't even think this game's going to be close. I think even if you put Josh Norman on Odell Beckham Jr., I mean, let's be honest. How did that work out in Carolina? I mean, Beckham dropped one touchdown
not
pass.
too well for him.
I mean, he'll torch him. And so if they do give double coverage to Odell Beckham, I mean, Sterling Shepard will blow by everybody. Breland, I mean, there's nobody on there. Look, Kirk Cousins bet on himself. I don't feel bad for him. He's getting $19 million for that franchise tag. But he's regressing. And I think Washington is regressing. Look, I got the Redskins finishing last in that division right now. And I think today is going to be,
What surprises me the most is that
bad.
no one's talking about the weapons that Kirk Cousins has. He still has Deshaun Jackson. He still has Jordan Reed. He still has Pierre Garçon. Where are these guys? Why have they not shown up? And then on the flip side, you have the Washington Redskins defense. Scott McCloughan is known for drafting big, mean, nasty guys who apparently, number one, don't know how to cover Antonio Brown. And then number two, you go up against a rookie quarterback in Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys, and you're unable to get a win there?
At home?
At home? Thank you. Yeah,
your home opener?
You're home against a divisional opponent?
To the Cowboys? I mean...
Right. So it's like, if you're Jay Gruden and Dan Snyder, where's your brain at? I mean, someone please tell them that football season has started. This isn't preseason anymore. These games actually do matter.
I think the rumors are maybe true about what's going on in the locker room with the Redskins. I think all the players are kind of maybe shaking their head at Kirk Cousins.
I mean,
$19 million is a nice chunk of change for 1 year, but you're betting on yourself and you started the year off like that, son, you're going to be a backup next year.
Listen, if you start 0-3, you better take that $19 million and say, guess what? I'm done. Retire. Take your money and go home.
But look, I mean, that might be part of the reason why Washington didn't give him the big money. I mean, they're only tied to him for this year. I mean, they could be done and gone, no contract to saddle him down with, and him regressing.
It's a $19 million audition, and so far he's not doing too well.
Okay, but here's the thing. You wanted this guy to start over RG3, all right? You wanted him so much that you did everything possible to shuffle RG3 the hell out of Washington. Now you got your guy, you've got your quarterback, you've got your game plan in motion, and now you can't produce? I mean, I think Jay Gruden needs to be the one that leaves, not Kirk Cousins. I say, Jay Gruden, you made this decision. You got everything that you've asked for, and now you have the pieces in place to be successful in a very winnable division. And you're starting the season 0-2 and then 0-1 on your home opener against the Dallas Cowboys?
Yeah, but see, that decision-making could be go from the GM because you decided to give him $19 million to come back for that one-year audition. And he hasn't been doing so well.
Listen.
So if anybody needs to go, it might be the GM.
Yeah, well, I don't see that happening anytime soon.
We don't always make the best of decisions.
That's true.
This is very true. Very, very true. All right, gentlemen, again, we are here live at Old School, Main Street, Sarasota, 1991. Come check us out. We are on Facebook Live. This is Eric from Whole Nother Level alongside the factual Frank Mazzei and the great L. Bushman. We're going to keep the show going, and shout out to our friends chiming in on us on Facebook. Unfortunately, today there is no number to call in. We will get that worked for you at a later time. But, gentlemen, I want to move to a game that I'm considering, and a lot of people have called me crazy, even the two of you up here.
Crazy.
I
Totally
know.
crazy.
Yeah, that's fine.
Mental.
That's
Almost.
fine. I am saying
BSC.
the Cleveland Browns with Cody Kessler get their first.
Yes.
We
Yes,
haven't gotten
yes,
to
thank
the
you.
Detroit game yet. When we get there, I'm gladly gonna have you come up here and give us a few words of wisdom. But right now, we are talking about the Cleveland Browns and the Miami Dolphins, and I'm saying the Cleveland Browns with Cody Kessler get their first win today. Y'all can laugh all you want. Any given Sunday.
Because it's laughable. Come on, man.
Any given Sunday. And yes, it is in football, Frank.
Okay. Hey, I'm
Yes.
just checking. Maybe they're going to play cards or something or board
This
games.
isn't the
or-
Cleveland
or
Cavaliers
something.
Are
versus
they
the
doing
Miami
any kind
Heat.
of like 2 out of 3? Or?
Oh, Evan, you got another Buccaneers fan in the building. There you go, baby. Another Buccaneers fan just walked in and joined us. Hi, Mom. Hi, Dad. How are you? But yes, Cleveland and Miami. Go ahead, y'all. Have the floor. Go ahead.
I'm speechless.
I want to hear you. I want to hear you say how the Browns are going to beat the
Okay,
Dolphins.
here we go. Cleveland, number 1. had RG3, a guy who was prone to injury, and that was proven week 1 against Philadelphia.
He stunk it up.
So then they brought in Josh McCown as their backup. Josh McCown is who he is. He's a backup. Unlike some of these other gentlemen who feel like they can be a starter in the NFL, Josh McCown knows his place. Unfortunately...
Yes, it's getting hurt and then it's sitting on the bench.
Exactly. Unfortunately, he got injured.
Is Josh Gordon been cleared to play in this game?
Not yet. Not yet.
Week
Josh
6,
Gordon,
he'll be
no,
back.
week 5.
Just checking.
Week 5, he'll be back.
Week 5, he'll be back.
Week 5.
So now you have Cody Kessler, a man who a lot of people felt like he was going to be the best option for the Cleveland Browns. Now, granted, his preseason, he kind of stunk up the joint a little bit. But I'm looking at Isaiah Crowell. We've seen what this team can do. Cleveland can put up points. They jump out to an early lead. The problem with Cleveland is they can't maintain that lead in the second half. I say they fix that problem this week going into Miami and beating the Dolphins. Because let's be honest, you put up 10 points on Seattle. Kenny Stills, until he starts catching the ball for Miami, I can't get this guy to catch water. All right?
If he catches that, they win that game.
I agree,
Yes.
but he didn't. Okay? And then last week, yes, they were against the Patriots. The Patriots had a rookie quarterback. Time management played a factor. Did the Miami Dolphins come back? They did. But there again, you're playing an injured New England Patriots. If Jimmy G was playing, if Tom Brady was playing, they would have put up 50 on Miami, as bad as Miami looked in the first quarter, in the first half for that matter. So what I'm saying to you is, look at what Cleveland has done the first half of every single game that they've played this season. They've produced, they've put up numbers, and they've been successful. It's the second half where they need to manage the clock, be smart, and don't turn over the ball. I feel like they can do that today in Miami.
Okay, you know that T-shirt with a long list of names of quarterbacks?
Yes.
That the Browns have? You're going to add Cody Kessler to that, too.
That's
okay?
fine.
You actually believe, to your point, okay, they start off good. Yeah, they can't finish in the second half, and that's their downfall, and it's the Browns. Okay, the Finns look decent against the Patriots. Okay, when you're going against the evil empire and Bill Belichick, who was Darth Vader and the Emperor combined, okay, it's a hard thing to do. But you're in the 305. You're in your home turf now, and Tannehill's, this is put up or shut up here. Okay, you've got some good weapons in Devontae Parker, Jarvis Landry,
and you've got a coach who has done,
and he did wonders with Jay Cutler.
So right,
we'll get to Jay Cutler in a little bit.
Okay,
but. With the Finns, I see them bouncing back. They're that slow team, or that girl at the prom that you look at, and she may not be that cute, but she's really kind of maybe just there to dance maybe one or two songs. That's the Dolphins, okay? The Dolphins are that average-looking girl that you can maybe look at the prom and get a dance here and there. That's what they're going to do. I see them having no trouble against the Browns. I'm sorry, Eric. I know you want to believe in Cleveland, but the only thing Cleveland got's going for them right now is LeBron in the championship and the Indians that are doing so well.
Listen, I'm not becoming all of a sudden a part of the dog pound or the puppy pound, as we call them. What I'm saying is, for this game, for today, I think Cleveland is going to shock a lot of people and, in fact, beat Miami. Go ahead, Frank.
He's speechless.
I know.
I am
we have
without
a rare
speech.
moment here on a
Look,
whole nother level. Frank Mazzei is speechless.
The Dolphins granted, talent doesn't matter all the time, but the Dolphins roster is just better. I mean, defensively, Miami's defense is pretty legitimate. I mean, Landry, Parker, wide receivers, which I believe Parker is going to play today. I mean, Arian Foster's not, but let's be honest. I mean, he's not really done a lot this year to begin with. I got Miami, your home opener. I mean, yeah, they dropped the pass. They didn't beat Seattle, but they were in Seattle, and that was close. They went to New England and at least made it respectable. This is a game that they make a statement. Even though they are 0-2, I think they're a lot better than what their record shows. I expect them. I don't expect this to be a close game.
So you're saying that Miami's going to blow them out. That's what you're saying.
If it was a 2-quarter game, I might go with the Browns. But because it's 4, I'm going with Miami.
I really think that Cody Kessler is going to be more of a game manager than a lot of people give him credit for. And because of that, I feel that he will keep this close. I feel that Isaiah Crowell is going to have a good game because, remind you, okay, let's talk about the Miami defense. You paid Ndamukong Suh how much money? How much money did you pay this guy? Like
$116 million.
$116 million.
It's a lot of cheddar.
Right. And what has he really done as far as being your main guy on that defensive side to get to the quarterback and to stop teams from winning? What has he done? I mean, somebody, please tell me.
His impact doesn't necessarily show up in sacks. He shows up just basically clogging that defensive line and collapsing the pocket.
But
that's basically his
right.
biggest impact.
But Isaiah Crowell can work past that, and I see him doing that.
He's not a big physical guy, and Duke Johnson isn't either. Look, anything can happen. And look, for Cody Kessler, this is your chance. This is your chance to show, hey, I'm the guy. He could make himself a lot of money this year.
And I say he's going to.
It looks like he's going to get to play. And Hugh Jackson, he's an offensive-minded coach, but man, I know I can't make the case.
I know it's a hard pill to swallow. But what I'm saying to you is, this is what I see, and I really feel, just like I feel like Buffalo's going to win today, I feel like Cleveland is going to win today and shock at least two teams that they're going to shock a lot of people for this week. Let's make no mistake about it. I'm not saying that they're going to go on some tear and they're going to win like 3-4 games in a row. I'm saying specifically for these two games today, week 3, Buffalo beats Arizona, Cleveland beats Miami. Time will tell.
I can't wait to see the look on your face.
Listen, if they lose,
I can't wait.
If they lose, I'm not going to be shocked or surprised by it.
Okay.
I really am not. But what I'm saying to you is I am giving them more benefit and more credit than a lot of people are based on where they're at, the divisions they're in, and what they need to do. For today.
Okay.
Let's make it for today only.
Okay.
All right. Baltimore at Jacksonville. Yeah, I got the Ravens. I can't pick Jacksonville to do anything for me right now. So
I think we're seeing the Jacksonville Jaguar team that we've always seen.
I have to give an apology to all the Packer fans, but more importantly to Tabitha, our bartender here. I got to give you a humble apology. I was foolish enough to pick Jacksonville week 1. Clearly, I was in the wrong. I know. You were there, and clearly, I don't know if it was you, but we'll just say it was you. You must have heard what I was saying. You talked to Aaron Rodgers, and they just shut me up altogether. So we are not talking about Detroit yet. He cannot wait.
Listen, we're seeing a Jacksonville team that we all thought would be decent this year.
Yes.
I mean, Gus Bradley's in a position where they did a great draft. Except for you, Frank. I know.
I did not think Jacksonville would be decent this year.
Ladies and
just
gentlemen,
for the
let's
record.
Make this perfectly clear. Factual Frank Mazzei is not in any way, shape, form, or fashion on the Jacksonville bandwagon at all.
I had them going 8-8. I'm going to change that to maybe 5-11.
I had them going 10-6 and winning. Getting
and
a wild card
as Frank, as you
spot.
said, you can win the draft, but that means absolutely nothing in the regular season.
They've drafted pretty decent. I mean, I like Jalen Ramsey. I mean, Miles Jack was a good pick. They have a quarterback. Where's Allen Robinson been this year? I mean,
I don't think he's even been at the games. I think he's just taken a
have
couple
the Allen
days
brothers where's Allen Hearns? Speaking of Allens, I mean, where's he been?
Listen, with the Ravens team they're going up against is a team I thought was not going to be that great this year, but they are a healthy Ravens team, and with an addition of Mike Wallace on there, who has, well, I guess a couple things left in the tank, as he's been quoted, they are a viable threat now. Okay, Flacco's been playing pretty well. That defense looks pretty good, but it's Jacksonville. I mean, I thought they were going to go 8-8 this year, but this is the Jacksonville Jaguars, and we're looking to see a Jacksonville Jaguars, a team that we've seen every single year for the past, forever.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate because I like Blake Bortles, and I like what they're able to do. The Allen brothers need to show up. They've boosted up their defense this year. Miles Jack and Jalen Ramsey. So it's very hard right now to look at this Jacksonville team and say, are you going to be the same old Jags? Are you going to be the same old Jacksonville team that year in and year out give us so much hope, but then are a complete bust?
Well, hopefully today they're not the same old Jags because I have them beating the Ravens just because I don't think much about Baltimore. I mean, even though Perriman's back, they got Steve Smith, Justin Forsett. I still don't think Baltimore's a very good football team. I mean, if you look at their wins this year, I mean, yeah, granted they won, but my goodness, it's not like they beat anybody to write home about.
They're a mediocre 2-0.
Yes.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right, and I'm really curious to see how they're going to play the rest of the year. Last year they were plagued with injury, so I guess we kind of slightly gave them a pass. But this year, being as healthy as they are, let's see what happens. All right, with that, we're going to take a break. When we come back, he's been talking noise for so much No, don't you go nowhere. Don't put them sunglasses on, because when we come back from break, you're getting up here to talk about your Detroit Lions today, buddy, all right? Again, Whole Nother Level, we are live at Old School Bar, 1991 Main Street. We'll be right back. And welcome back to Whole Nother Level right here at Old School, 1991 Main Street, right next to Hollywood 20 here in Sarasota, Florida. I am Eric C. Wilson, joined by Frank Mazzei and the great L. Bushman.
What up, what up?
We W.E. Bush yesterday, but keeping the show going. He's been sitting out there talking since we started the show, so I guess he wants to talk about the Green Bay Packers and them Detroit Lion game that's going on today. Here's what I will say, because apparently I have the Packers to win this game, first and foremost.
I've got the Packers to win, too. Go, Pack, go.
What I'm saying is it took, what did you say to me? It took how many? 1990 until last year was the only time that the Lions actually beat the Packers in Lambeau Field. Now, they did split last year, but the Packers, whatever it was, they still won.
A W is a W.
A win's a win. And what is Aaron Rodgers known for? He is throwing the Hail Mary passes. We've seen him throw several of those bombs, well, not even bombs, just Hail Marys for victories for the Green Bay Packers. So now, Green Bay, you started off against Jacksonville, had a great showing. Jordy Nelson looks phenomenal. And then you go into Minnesota, granted, brand new stadium, and you played a very close game. Minor turnover battle for Aaron Rodgers and that Green Bay team. But what do we expect today from the Packers?
I expect a good football game. The Lions have actually looked decent.
It is the
You
beginning
can cheer
of the year.
on that. I said they look decent.
It's the beginning of the year. We expect the Detroit Lions to look at least like a football team, a solid football team.
I expect a good, decent football game out of these two teams. And the Packers aren't looking like the Packers just yet. I think Aaron Rodgers is still kind of hung up on Olivia Munn still. He's got the whole wifey situation deal. But I see a good football game out of these two teams. And I was really surprised how Detroit's kind of come out and after Megatron has left, where they've taken Golden Tate and Marvin Jones, and actually he's making two mediocre wide receivers actually look pretty good. And you got Eric Ebron. Now they've lost Amir Abdullah. He's going to be out of the game with an injury. But
Theoretic will get a lot of carries.
Theoretic's not too shabby in the backfield either. So I see a physical football game between these two teams. Clay Matthews is out for the Green Bay Packers today, so that's one loss they're going to be without. But I see the Pack going in here. I see the Pack winning this game. I see a good game, a close game. I see Pack maybe winning by a touchdown.
Wow. Okay. All right. Frank, what you got on it?
I mean, even with Clay Matthews not playing, I mean, has he done anything when he's been playing so far?
Not really.
I mean, their defense hasn't really, been that great. Look, first, Detroit has my favorite offensive coordinator in the whole league, the NFL. Jim Bob Cooter, exactly. That's right. I will root for them just for that reason alone. But in this game, look, Green Bay has Super Bowl aspirations. I mean, they're not just trying to make the playoffs. I mean, that's their goal. And right now, I mean, it's only 2 games, but they're not really looking like it. And I'm thankful because the people I've played so far in fantasy, some of them have had Aaron Rodgers and got absolutely nothing out of him. Look, it's a rivalry game, so I believe that it will be close, but I got the Packers winning it. I think they got to at least turn something around.
Yep. All right, gentlemen.
And you're in Lambeau, too. So
Listen. Let me give it to you very simply when it comes to this game. RELAX. Relax. It's the Green Bay Packers. We know what's going to happen, okay? They're going to start. No. Yeah. You can create all the T-shirts, buttons, stickers, all you want. But what I'm telling you right now is with the loss of Eric Ebron and
Abdullah.
Theo Riddick, as good as he is not going to be. Is Abdullah playing?
No.
Abdullah is not playing.
So Abdullah's out.
Not playing.
Ebron's out. This is going to be a Green Bay game. I expect Eddie Lacy to have a phenomenal day. I expect Lacy to have at least 80 yards rushing by halftime. I also expect Jordy Nelson, who I need in fantasy, to have a huge day. I'm not even making this a close game. I'm saying week 3, Green Bay comes out, shows their dominance. I'm saying we're putting the score up 35-14, Green Bay over the Detroit Lions, because not going to happen.
That's a good T-shirt slogan, though. I like that. Hashtag 2 in a row in Lambeau. I like that.
No.
I'm copywriting it right now. I'm going to sell T-shirts.
2 in a row in Lambeau. Not going to happen. I'm sorry. So with that, gentlemen, let's keep it going. Now we've got Denver Broncos, the defending Super Bowl champions, heading into Cincinnati to face Andy Dalton and the Bengals. So let me ask you, gentlemen, Denver at Cincy. Denver's got this defense that we know. Cincy has a solid offense. Who's going to come out the victor in this game?
If your team has offensive line problems, which the Bungles do, the last team you really want to see is Denver with that pass rush. And, oh, by the way, they've got the cornerbacks to help on those wide receivers. So, for me, I got Denver winning this. Even though Trevor Siemian, offensively, Denver is not a juggernaut. They don't need to be. They had the blueprint from last year.
Denver's got weapons, okay? Cincinnati's got a couple weapons. Denver's got a lot. And with their defense stacking the box and making sure Jeremy Hill and Giannotti Bernard are not going to run through those holes. So I have Denver beating against the Cincinnati Bungles.
Yeah, this is across the board. I just look at Trevor Siemian as the next up-and-coming as far as rookie quarterbacks to kind of take over a team and just prove to be successful. So I've got Denver all day. What I will say to you, though, is when Tyler Eifert comes back, expect Cincinnati to go on a tear. But until that happens, yeah, I've got Denver all day.
That's a big prediction for you.
No, I'm serious.
Are you only saying that because of fantasy football?
No, I'm saying it because of what I seen him do last year and what I expect him to do this year, because he's playing with a huge chip on his shoulder. So that's why I say when he comes back, expect Cincy to have a nice little run. And we'll definitely talk about that. All right, next game up. A lot of people, surprisingly, are picking this game, and they're calling it the flip of the coin game, which for me, I don't really understand why. So maybe you gentlemen can help me out. You've got the Minnesota Vikings heading into Carolina. Do you realize this? If you look over the last 5 games between Sam Bradford and Cam Newton, respectively, Sam Bradford actually has better numbers than Cam Newton. And this is a guy who went to the Super Bowl. But Sam Bradford, in his last 5 games, has better numbers than Cam Newton does.
Listen, we always said sometimes a player needs a different location to be successful. He actually looks decent, okay? And I know that pains you to say that because he used to be with your Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, it does.
But this is my flip of the coin game. And I'm going towards the Vikings because defense wins football games, okay? And I'm going over to looking at Carolina of what they've done throughout this season so far. They're not the same Carolina Panthers on defense, okay? I look at the Vikings defense and what Mike Zimmer's done with this team the past couple of years, making them that almost a purple people eaters almost to that point. Okay, Sam Bradford's healthy so far. I know you're without AP. He's going to be out probably for the rest of the season, even though he says he's going to come back week maybe 10 or 11. But with Asiata and McKinnon in the backfield, there's a little bit of a 1-2 punch there. McKinnon's not that bad of a back, and Asiata's that third and goal guy that you can get in there to score touchdowns. Your boy Stephon Diggs.
I love him.
If you don't cover him, they don't have Josh Norman anymore to cover that guy.
This is very true.
So
if he can get open, whether it be in the slot or down the field.
If Sam Bradford can cut down on the mistakes, which he didn't do last game, if he can minimize the mistakes against Carolina, I see Minnesota coming out in this victory. And I see a close game with this one.
You know, the one thing about Bradford that we have to mention is the fact that when Bradford reads the field, he throws the ball with enough time for the receiver to get to where the ball is being thrown to. We have to show him a little bit of love. All that being said, I'm still going with Cam Newton and the Carolina Panthers at home. Even though Jonathan Stewart, I don't even think he's playing, you still got Greg Olsen. You still got Devin Funchess. You still got Ted Ginn Jr. All of these guys on the offensive side of the ball. Oh, wait, and Cam has his number 1 wide receiver in Kelvin Benjamin. He is just going to light up this Minnesota defense. As good as they have been, I just see Cam and Kelvin connecting for at least 2 touchdowns.
Listen, that's cool with me. 2 touchdowns because I have him on fantasy. That's good with me. You can have 2 touchdowns, okay? I respect Carolina. Jonathan Stewart is out, but when you got a back named Fozzie as your backup.
Fozzie Whitaker?
Hey,
yes.
Man, that's pretty damn good. But I still see Minnesota winning this game.
I don't see Carolina lighting anything up as pertains to scoring or anything, at least. Look, I agree with Evan. I have the Vikings winning this game. I mean, it's not the same Carolina defense. I mean, they give up 27 points to the Niners. I mean, yeah, I get it, Chip Kelly and the offense, the offensive genius that he supposedly is, but 27 points. They blow a 10-point lead against the Broncos, which Carolina should have won that first game against Denver. It was the defense that let them down, not the offense. I mean, even without Adrian Peterson, they were already last in the NFL in rushing. I mean, like 1.9 yards a carry. So it's not like even when he was there.
He wasn't lighting it up.
Exactly. He wasn't really doing anything. So as long as Bradford is he just has to be a little bit smart. I mean, that's the kind of game that Mike Zimmer at least wants to play. They're going to run the ball, short passes, and it will be a close one, but I have them winning it.
How do you guys forget about this Carolina defense? You forget about Luke Kuechly. You forget about Thomas Davis Sr. Granted, they lost Josh Norman and Jared Allen retired, but all the pieces of Carolina's defense are still there.
Yeah, but looking at them, there's something missing with them, and I don't think it's Josh Norman at all. I just don't think they have the same kind of moxie they had last year.
I cannot believe
it could be
you
maybe
two,
a slow
I just
start.
really cannot believe you two
it
gentlemen
could be
are
a
sitting
slow
here
start, but I just
and
don't.
forgetting this is a team last year that went 15-1 in the regular season,
And a lot of things can happen between a year.
Yep.
But very little did happen in a year. Only thing that happened to Carolina is they got better because Kelvin Benjamin's back.
I see Super Bowl hangover with this team.
No, not
Super
at
Bowl
all.
hangover.
I still have them winning this division.
I'm just looking at the numbers. You gave up 27 points to the Niners, and you can't hold a lead. A 10-point lead. It's not like, they gave up a field goal. They had a 10-point lead. I mean, last year, a 10-point lead, you just right at home. It was a done deal. Not the case this year.
Okay. All right. So when Carolina wins today, just know that I was the only one up here who supported them while you two guys felt like, Minnesota all of a sudden now that they've got Sam Bradford.
I'll get you a medal.
And you know what? Sam Bradford, and we've all said this, yes, is in the best situation for himself right now at this time. But I still do not see him coming into Carolina and being able to trounce the Super Bowl champs. Well, I'm sorry, the team that went to the Super Bowl. I just don't see it.
No trouncing. Close victory.
Yeah, I see a close game. No big, huge blowout.
All right. With that, let's get to the game. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Let's fire the cannons.
You ready?
Let's fire the cannons.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, it is E. Bush, L. Bushman, the L.A. Rams against your Tampa Bay Buccaneers, sir. So let's go.
Fire the cannons, everybody. Fire the cannons. Home opener in Tampa today, 425, Raymond James Stadium. The Bucs better win this game. That's all I got to say. Okay, you're going up against an L.A. Rams. Well, do I say offense because there's no offense at all?
It's offense optional with the Rams.
Exactly, especially with
Field
Jeff
goals.
Fisher. Field goals.
Field
goals only.
Field goals only.
I'm a little concerned with all the injuries that we had last week with Robert Ayers being out, Levante David's probably going to be out as well. Doug Martin's out with a hamstring. But, I like Charles Sims. He's a great pass catcher. I mean, he's a good running back, and he's a good running back that can catch passes. So he's kind of a double-headed monster on his own. That brought in Jacquizz Rodgers from Atlanta, who wasn't a bad backup there as well. So, listen, Jeff Fisher has been that defensive-minded guy, but I think that was a defensive mind that was maybe stuck back in the early 1990s when they went to the Super Bowl and almost won. And I put that in quotations, almost won. So, listen. Tampa is going to be fired up. I know they got their butts smacked last week by Arizona, but, Jameis Winston and company's going to be fired up for this game. It's going to be fire the cannons all day.
We might have a little bit of altercation going on here at the bar. We got a Giants fan and we've got a Redskins fan who just came in, and now
they're going to sit next to each other.
They're sitting next to each other. Oh Lord, do we need to call somebody security for this one? You guys going to be okay over there, Giants Redskins?
But I think, and what happened on this week with ASJ, I think you cut that cancer out of the team because listen, this guy was all about himself and not about the team. Cameron Brate's a good tight end. Brandon Myers is going to block for passing. He's going to do well. And, the other day, Brayton and Jameis Winston were there till late doing reps. So the Bucs are going to come out firing all cannons, as I would say. I think they've got an easy victory against L.A. and Tampa. It's going to be hot. L.A.'s not used to the humidity. They're just used to all the smog and nastiness. So I've got Buccaneers going on top big.
This is the game. I looked at you on Wednesday when I saw this, and I said to you, if the Buccaneers don't win this game, we're going to have a long conversation come Monday morning.
Listen, if they give up one touchdown to Gurley, that's fine because I needed one touchdown out of Gurley this week for fantasy. But that's
just
it. One touchdown. That's
just
it.
One.
Just one.
So have him break out, have him
just
get
do one long run and a touchdown.
and that's it. And then you're okay.
And then you're okay for the rest of the day.
I got the Bucs winning simply because the Bucs have put up touchdowns, and the LA Rams have put up nothing but field goals. How in 2 games have you not scored one touchdown in 8 quarters?
Because you got nobody to utilize. You got Tavon Austin, who's been somewhere.
Case Keenum is not your answer. No. You drafted number 1, Jared Goff, and this guy hasn't even sniffed the field yet. How on God's green earth do you give this man all this money and then just put him on the bench?
Does Jared Goff even have a uniform yet?
I think he's still in sweats.
Okay, that's what I thought. I'm assuming they've given him at least a playbook or something during.
Jeff Fisher needs to take a book out of what they're doing over in Philly and start your number 1 pick.
You have to. You have to see all this money that you've paid. But I have the Bucs winning this game because I need to see something from this team. This is a team who I expected to have 9-7 is a great record. They can slide in at the wild card.
9-7?
That's the score?
Come on.
That's it. 9-7 is the final score that we're getting from our lonely Detroit man. He's sitting out there by himself. He's trying to be smart, but I just don't see it right now. But he's sitting out there, our lonely Lions man, who says that he said it 0-2 in Lambeau. What was it? 2-0.
2 in a row in Lambeau.
2-0 in
2 in a row in Lambeau.
I don't see it happening. All right, 2 in a row.
Look, I got the Bucs. Make it 3. I mean, the Rams just can't score. I mean, look, 9-7. That's a good pick for a Rams game. I mean, that's what they want. That's what Jeff Fisher wants. He likes that. I just think Tampa's offense. I mean, I at least know that they can score touchdowns. I mean, losing to Arizona it's not like that's not the worst
loss. I mean, even though you got
40-7,
40-7, but it's in Arizona.
Not a respectable loss. I just say a big loss.
Okay,
they listen, against Arizona, they did not look prepared of what they were getting into. But to come back home in your home opener, you have to win against LA. And listen, you got Mike Evans and Vincent Jackson on both of your sides. You should be gunslinging it all day.
I agree.
All day.
I agree. All right, gentlemen, let's go. We got a couple more games to get to here. So, 49ers, a team that has put up 28 points and 27 points respectively. Now they're playing a divisional opponent in a team who almost lost week 1 and did lose week 2 to the LA Rams, referring to the Seattle Seahawks. So, 49ers, Seahawks, who we got in this game?
I'm actually picking the Niners on this one.
Really?
From what I've seen out of Seattle. Yeah, I know you're giving me the weird look. From what I've seen out of Seattle so far this year has been, well, Seattle's starting off really, really slow this year. Okay, they haven't utilized everything yet. Their backfield's been weird. Thomas Rawls been hurt. Christine Michael, well, we thought he looked good in preseason. Hasn't been doing so well in the regular season. And, of course, we always bring this up in the show. Jimmy Graham, you're not utilizing Jimmy Graham like he used to. I mean, in New Orleans, he was catching touchdowns all day. He hasn't done anything in Seattle because, you know why? He's all about touchdowns, not blocking at all. Russell Wilson's hurt. The Legion of Boom is the Legion of Boom. They've been holding teams to field goals lately, but the offense has been so anemic. I just don't see them putting up any points against. And I'm saying this, the Niners are going to come out and put up some points against Seattle.
Frank, who you got?
I mean, the Niners scored 28 on the Rams.
Yep.
And 27 on the Panthers. And look, I mean, they've gone soft. I mean, they went from like Rocky 2 to Rocky 3. Like Rocky 2, Rocky was hungry and working. Rocky 3, he got the money, all the accolades, and
I think they're almost to Rocky 5 where he got broke and he has to live back in his house.
Look, when you get rid of Max Unger for Jimmy Graham, you're getting rid of a physical player for a soft finesse player. I mean, yeah, Jimmy Graham can catch, but when you have a bad offensive line, you need your tight end to block. Jimmy Graham isn't trying to block anybody. He's just trying to run down the field.
All right.
Their offensive line has 2 undrafted free agents on it, like 2 7th-round picks. Basically, their highest draft pick on the offensive line right now is their center, a 2nd-round pick. I mean, it's bad. I mean, I'm not saying their defense is soft. I mean, it's still legitimate, but offensively, I mean.
All right, who you got?
I got the Seahawks just because they're at home.
Gotcha.
And I can't pick the Niners.
Listen, the one thing I'm going to say to you is I was very surprised by what I saw first 2 weeks with 49ers. And if there's one thing I do know, it's that Chip Kelly offense. Chip Kelly is going to put up points. Seattle hasn't put up any. For that reason, I'm going to put the 49ers and say they get a victory today. We've got about 5 more games. Let's quickly breeze through them here. Big shout out to everybody at Old School Bar for hooking us up and hanging out with us today. We're going to be back each and every week. Next game up, Frank, it's your game of the week, as I call it. Ryan Fitzpatrick. Carl, my man, the owner, we were talking about your Raiders earlier, man. You got to get here. We start off with you, brother. It's all right. We're gonna get you next week. Definitely. Frank, your game of the week. Ryan Fitzpatrick or Alex Smith? Who you taking this week, my man?
A game between two backup quarterbacks. Backups, in my opinion, not actually positions. I'm going with the Chiefs just because they're at home at Arrowhead. It's a tough place to play.
I'm taking the Jets, Jets all day long.
I'm going with Fireman Ed and the Jets, Jets all day, baby.
All right, keep it going. We've got San Diego, nap time San Diego, as you call him, L. Bushman, heading into Indianapolis to face Andrew Luck and pretty much the old Indianapolis Colts. I'd like to know what the median age is of all those guys, but besides that, Chargers, Colts, who we got in this game?
I've got the Chargers in this one, and there's no nap time today. Going against Indy, who've been, terrible on defense. Now, I know San Diego's lost a few key guys, Danny Woodhead, Keenan Allen, Antonio Gates is out today, but I see the Chargers win this game by a lot because Tyrell Williams, and Frank, I know you love him on fantasy, so do I.
He's on my fantasy, yep.
I like what I just think what San Diego's doing right now. They're gonna be okay against the Colts because the Colts defense has been just horrendous all throughout the season so far. And I know I see this as a shootout game because both defenses are terrible.
Yep.
So I see a big shootout game. I just don't think the Colts can maybe keep up with the Chargers. But a huge game, shootout game. I got Chargers.
Listen, the Colts are at home. They've got to do something important to rebound themselves, to maintain where they are in the AFC South. I see them winning this game. I've got the Colts solely because they're at home and because San Diego's without weapons. Frank, who you got?
I got the Chargers. Take the over on this game. Both teams are defense optional.
Yep.
I moved Tyrell Williams into the starting lineup just for this game, basically. Chargers win.
All right, next game up. Of course, it is my game. I've got the Pittsburgh Steelers coming into the link to face the Philadelphia Eagles. I got one Steeler fan in the building. Two, I'm sorry, because my man to my left. So, with that being said, gentlemen, Steelers, Eagles, who you got?
Going into the league, I think the Steelers are going to take this one. We've come to see that Ben Roethlisberger can win with wide receivers that if they just plucked out of trees. And, Philly's looking good. I'm not going to, knock Philly. They've been looking good with Carson Wentz behind center. But going against that Steelers offense where he's got so many weapons, and, D'Angelo Williams should be starting somewhere as a running back. But, hey, he's going to take his money as a 33-year-old running back anyways. But I see the Steelers putting up a lot against the Eagles. But I'd still, not to knock your Eagles. There's still room for improvement. I just see Steelers all day.
Frank?
I got the Steelers. Offensively, we got wide receivers for days. The defense is what's been making me happy. Artie Burns and William Gay, the secondary actually looks better, which it couldn't get much worse than it was last year, and our front seven is as good as anybody. So I got the Steelers.
Listen, I don't bleed green for nothing. What I will say to you is I'm looking at my quarterback, Carson Wentz, to do pretty much the unthinkable because no one expects him to do it. Although we did beat Cleveland and we did beat Chicago, we have our first true test this week against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Make no mistake about it. This game is going to dictate how the rest of our season is going to go, how we are going to fare against powerhouse proverbial Super Bowl contender teams. For that reason, I am nervous, I am skeptical, but I will never, ever go against my team. I am saying Eagles all day. I say we pull out a close one.
Carl's shaking his head.
Carl, you can shake your head all day long. Just because you got that, what was it, 30?
That's
30,
right there, man.
34-8 victory yesterday, Michigan over Penn State, baby. Whatever you had yesterday, you know what, congratulations. We knew that was going to happen. Now it's the NFL. Now it's a horse of a different color. And when you talk to me about my team, the same way I will talk to you about your Raiders, I will never, ever go against my team. I am saying that, yes, I'm a realist. And I give all props and love to Ben Roethlisberger, Mike Tomlin, D'Angelo Williams, Antonio Brown, and the rest of that crew. But I expect my Philadelphia Eagles at home to come out and play like they have never played this season so far. If we win, it's going to be the greatest thing that has happened to me all week long. If we lose, I will not be shocked or surprised by it. But this will set the tone for the rest of the season. No one's asking you, Giants fan. No one's asking you. Listen, I might change my pick just because of that and go with the Redskins. All right?
Yeah, do it.
No, I'm not.
No love for Eli Rogers or Jesse James?
I got a lot of love for all those guys.
Come on, man. We got a tight end by the name of Jesse James. Come on.
Yeah,
man.
this
That's
is very
outlaw
true.
right there.
But what I'm saying to you is I am picking my team, always have, always will. Let's get to the Sunday night game. Chicago Bears minus Jay Cutler heading into Jerry World to play a very good-looking Dak Prescott, Ezekiel Elliott, Dez Bryant, Jason Witten, and Dallas Cowboys. Now, I don't want the Cowboys to win, but I have to respect this team right now. I can't stand them, but I got to at least respect them. Gentlemen, Bears, Cowboys, who do we got?
I've got Cowboys all day against the Bears.
You're still riding that Dak Prescott
I'm riding
gravy
the
train.
Dak Prescott gravy train. I've
Okay.
got Cowboys.
All right, Frank?
Cowboys. I mean, they finally won a game without Tony Romo as their quarterback, so at least they showed they could do it. And, I mean, Hoyer is probably a better option than Cutler. And at least he's a better leader.
Yep.
Hold on. Jarrell Freeman for the Chicago Bears. He still is playing, correct? Because I'll tell you what, if he gets a handle on Dak Prescott the way he did on Carson Wentz on Monday night, Dak Prescott may be in for a long night.
Yeah, but Dak Prescott's more of a mobile quarterback.
No. Between the two, Carson Wentz or Dak Prescott, I'm going to say Carson Wentz is more mobile. Take some unnecessary hits, but I will say definitely more mobile.
Nobody's touching Dak Prescott. Dallas's offensive line is way better.
Still one of the best. But yes,
Ezekiel Elliott needs to hold on to the ball and quit fumbling.
For that reason, I do have the Cowboys winning. Our last game, the Monday night game, and this is a very sentimental game. It's the Falcons going into New Orleans. 10 years ago, pretty much to the day, the Superdome reopened after Hurricane Katrina, and they played their first game back in the Superdome. It was a divisional game. It was Monday night, and the Saints, that entire city was just electric. It is the 10-year anniversary of that, and what I'm saying is for that reason, even though the Saints right now are 0-2, they are going to come out. That city is going to rally behind them. Willie Snead, if he plays, is going to have a big night. I totally expect Drew Brees to have a 400 or 500-yard passing game. I've got the Saints winning this game.
I've got the Saints are coming. The Saints. Yeah, I've got the Saints winning this one big. It's going to be a shootout between both teams as well because their defenses are terrible. But with the electricity going to go on in the Superdome tonight, being the anniversary of that city getting hit by Hurricane Katrina, I just see the Saints just coming out gunslinging. I hope Drew Brees throws 6 touchdowns because fantasy football wise, he's my quarterback. So I have the Saints winning big against Falcons. But of course, this will be a shootout between these both teams.
Yeah, I agree. I got the Saints winning. I mean, Drew Brees put up 400 yards in his sleep. I mean, look, and that is, even though they are 0-2, it's still a tough place to play.
It is. It's an extremely tough place to play. And like I said, to start this off, with that whole city remembering what happened to them and how they came together and they rebuild and they just brought New Orleans, put it back on its feet, put it back on the map, I expect them to honor that this game against Atlanta, have a great game, and win.
Yeah.
Against the Atlanta Falcons. Gentlemen, this has been great. Big shout out to our girl Tabitha behind the bar. Go Pack,
Thank
go,
you.
baby. Go Pack,
Pack,
go.
go.
All our Packer fans in the building. Everybody.
Go Bucks, fire the cannons.
Really?
Yes.
All right, fine. Go Bucks, fire the cannons. Yay. But to everybody, we are going to be here every Sunday giving you our pregame predictions from 11:30 till pretty much the start of the game. We are Whole Nother Level. This is my man to my left, Frank Mazzei.
Thanks, everybody.
Man to my right, the great Al Bushman. This is your man, Eric Wilson. Until next Sunday, you always can check us out on Spreaker.com. We'll be there on Tuesdays, and we have taken you to a whole nother level. Thank you.
Gee, mate, what do you want to do tonight?
The same thing we do every night, Pinky. Try to take over the world.